Let us not dawdle, for there are grudges to settle, and new entries in the Dammer's Cron to right!
Howdy, howdy, Pseudo here, and welcome to another online ladder battle with me generaling the Dwarfs versus the Lizardmen. This is round 2 of our newest build. The very first time we had the build out, we faced Falcon, who is one of the best players in the world, and the Lizardmen main, and we predictably took a bit of a shellacking, but I really wanted to keep the build going and bring it out for a run. For those that have not seen the build, really keys to this build that I've added are one single gyrocopter with brimstone guns and a bolt thrower. I have added one more Longbeard and removed their chevrons, and now I have 5 miners with blasting charges to focus on skinks. I have 2 quarters with great weapons and 2 rangers, and 2 Longbeards with great weapons in the back. And I also have the authorized raiders, who I like to kind of vanguard deploy somewhere so that I can bring them on as a surprise at some point. Now, I wasn't sure how to deploy here. I think the deployment line was something like really close like that. So the only thing I wanted to do was make sure to get my bolt thrower ready to deploy so I could shoot this way if his army sort of showed up like that. But obviously he is way on the other side, so I'm actually just going to press play. So I'm going to get a chance to sort of move my army up into sort of this area right here. This is where this gyrocopter again is amazing. I'm just going to go and see what's going on, see what I can see, and take a look over there, and I'm slowly going to move these guys up. For his army, he has a pretty classic army with some small additions. So 5 Sour Swords with shields. These are the strongest infantry against the Dwarfs. And he has 2 red-crested skinks in his backline. He does have the Basiladon with the Rev Crystal for the heals. He also has the Ancient Salamander, which is pretty strong. And he has the 2 units of Cold One Riders, which are armor-piercing and also pretty strong. He has Mazmundi on Zlak, who's loaded up with all the spells. He has Ruination of the City, his bound spell. Banishment, which is the bound spell. Shield of the Old Ones for 22% damage resistance. Apotheosis for the heals. Comet of Cassandora. Curse of the Midnight Wind for the armor reduction, harmonic convergence, and apotheosis. He also has his abilities: Sunburst, Standard of Hexawaddle, +9 melee defense, and +12 abyssal resistance. And he has Greater Arcane Conduit and Roiling Skies, and he causes fear and terror. So already, I'm just looking at what he's got, and I'm starting to take shots on his cavalry, and this just puts the army on a clock. So he's already got to start thinking about coming up, you know. And I don't know if he's got some skink somewhere, but he does have that lizard that can take some shots. So I'm sort of trying to stay away from him, and I do want to take periodic shots at these units as they go into the trees, and I just want to harass them. Really, I just want to harass them. So I think I'll take some shots here. Yeah, I'll put a little bit of damage into them, and I don't want to keep chasing them through the trees. I do notice they're coming up this way, so I think I'm going to bring myself back that way. I am trying to set myself up on this downhill slope with my infantry. Yeah, my infantry is going to come across here, and now I'm going to go and harass this Ancient Salamander, and he is now almost in range of my bolt thrower. So I'm just going to start shooting at him. I'm trying to watch closely to see what he's doing, if he's going to turn and shoot back. And now my rangers are starting to get shots, and I'm getting my infantry in line. Now he is going to start shooting with this Ancient Salamander, and he's going to start getting shots off. My bolt thrower is going to be in position to start shooting at him right away, and he's going to continue to come up with his cavalry to come up my right flank. And he's gone into the trees with a salamander to hide so he can get the rest of his troops up and sort of start the engagement. But obviously I do have the bolt thrower. Now I'm shooting at Mazmundi because Mazmundi's up in the open, and I have my gyrocopter with the brimstone gun sort of coming back. Now he obviously just wants to sort out his army and keep his key bits into the woods. Now as soon as he comes out, I think I'm going to re-go. But look, he does a ton of damage with that salamander. Like, it killed 11 models in one shot. So now I'm going to refocus on that Ancient Salamander. He is getting healed, but he's going to keep on shooting. This is a bit of a dip in here, so it's hard to shoot. And now he spots my Rangers, and I'm like, oh my god, my Althars Raiders. So he's coming up like that, and I'm like, oh my god, what am I going to do? He spots him, but he doesn't notice him, thank goodness. This is a little bit like, now I'm playing someone sort of my level, so it's a lot more of a match. So he's got these guys with Apotheosis, and he's still got the shots coming in with the Salamander, and taking some big damage on my Rangers. Now they're down to 39 models. I'm sort of getting in here. The blasting charges are going to go off on the Saurus Warriors. Now, it doesn't do that massive amount of damage, but it doesn't do nothing. I am getting some shots on the red crested skinks, and there go all my blasting charges. Now he has gotten in the backline for Cold One Riders, so I'm bringing in Ungrim Iron Fist, and I'm bringing in my Longbeards to try and pin them in the way. I do have my Quarrelers with great weapons back here. I'm still taking shots from that Ancient Salamander, but I'm really starting to focus him down now. He has been healed, I think, once or maybe twice, and but I've got the bolt thrower firing at him and the gyrocopter. I do need to bring these guys over to help out, and I need to bring these guys up to sort of spring my, well, not so trappy trap. But now you can see this just constant fire is enough to do some damage. He's going to still get some shots in, but I have managed to rout that Ancient Salamander, and I'll take a couple more shots, and I am going to shatter him. There we go. I think that's going to shatter him, or maybe one more shot. There we go. So now I do take a couple more shots, but then I change targets, so now I'm going on to this Bastiladon with the Rev Crystal. A little better target selection. I'm not worried about Mazdamundi. I'm going to save him for last. I'm trying to get my my miners and the blasting charges to muck up these Cold One Riders, and I am trying to bring these Althars Raiders in to shoot at these Cold One Riders as well. And I'm bringing these Longbeards across, and I'm bringing these miners across to this front line. So I'm really holding very, very steady on the front line, and Mazdamundi sort of just going up and down, and I'm not really attacking him. I'm picking my targets one at a time, and then trying to pick them effectively. So I have managed to get rid of his Cold One Riders, at least bring and whittle him down a lot. He's going to get another rear charge into these Longbeards, but we've got Ungrim Iron Fist in the front line. Now I am sending my miners in to go after Mazdamundi and muck him down. My back line is getting hit by some magic, but I'm going to be able to reset my back line and now just focus everything here on that Bastiladon with the Rev Crystal. And I still don't have the Althars Raiders sort of in position yet, but we're going to start taking shots on these Cold One Riders. I do want to try and finish them off and get them out. He's got a Ruination of Cities that's gone off. It's done pretty well. It's taking care of these Longbeards, but I have these miners sort of in reserve, and I do have another reserve unit of 2 reserve units of miners back here, which is really good, and I still have my reserve units of Longbeards. This is sort of how the build is supposed to go out. Now I don't know why my bolt thrower has gone all the way up here. Well, I do know why, because he couldn't get a shot at the Rev Crystal, and we're gone up front. I am going to figure that out and sort of pull him back here and set him up to shoot at Mazdamundi. Mazdamundi has now come back and beating up my Quarrelers with great weapons. I am going to refocus everything on Mazdamundi, and we are going to bring the Slayer King back here. Let's see if we can get a shot. Let's see if we can get a hit in on him. Are we going to hit him? Mazdamundi 6,900, and yes, 6,000. Now everybody is going to go after him. He's now got marked by Althar, and he is just going to get absolutely obliterated. And you know, now that the other dinosaurs are sort of out of the way and there's not much back here, I'm chasing this guy off with the gyrocopter. We'll just absolutely wreck Mazdamundi. He's got his heals going, you know, but everyone's after him, and there's not all the pressure back here is sort of gone, and you can notice the difference between this game and the last game against Falcon. Like, Falcon's an amazing player, but in this I've been able to realize my plan, and really by focusing on the weaker units first and leaving the strongest unit to last, so my backline was in much, much better shape. And even though the build was okay, like, I'm going to look at his build as, like, you know, 4 Saurus Warriors with 2 and 3 chevrons, you know, and 2 red crested skinks in the backline. Saurus Warriors are a good pick. Saurus Warriors with shields, they are the pick. 56, 54, 44, and 50. That's what you would expect. And these Cold One Riders, 38 and 53. You know, and Mazdamundi got 70. You know, I'm not like this. Obviously, this is not Falcon, but this is sort of more along my skill level of play. And that's why I like to be careful about evaluating builds when I play against really good players, because really good players make you look silly no matter how good your build is, and no matter what you're doing. So I think clearly Bliatison, I love that, Bliat. That's a great name, Bliat. Bliat, that's Slavic, I think, right? But this is a solid anti-Dowie build. There's nothing wrong with this build. You know, 4 Sour Swearers with shields, a couple red crested skinks in the back, some good Colon Riders for that armor piercing damage, a Ancient Salamander to put in some ranged, and Mazdamundi on Zlak, and a Rev Crystal for the heals. Like, you know, that's a very reasonable Lizardmen army. When I look at how did this army do, Ungermeyer Iron Fist, 34 kills, very strong, 7, 2, 11, 5, and 4 with the miners. They didn't get nearly the kills they've been getting with all the skinks. You know, when I had 3 of them, because these Saurus warriors are much more rugged when it comes to tanking that damage. But with the miners doing their blasting charges, you know, against the Saurus warriors, the Longbeards last as though they're Longbeards with 4 chevrons, if that makes sense. The Longbeards 24, 44, 61, 24, and 33, and I don't know if any of them buckled. My backline Longbeards 0 and 18, and we had 7 and 5 with the Rangers. They're just there for the harass, 4 and 8 for the quarters with great weapons, and 17s with the All-Stars Raiders. And really, I got a chevron with the gyrocopter with the Brimstone gun, and only 1 kill with the bolt thrower, but really the bolt thrower and the gyrocopter, the Brimstone gun, have really been worth it. Now, I could get rid of 3 of these miners with blasting charges and pick up the Dragonback Slayers again, because the Dragonback Slayers are awesome, or look at trying to get a unit of Giant Slayers so I have more killing power. After my game with Falcon, that's sort of, I was considering it, but I'm like, no, let's let the build play out and let's feel how it feels. Now, obviously, we didn't have the same amount of pressure in this game as we did in Falcon's game. We only had 1, 2, 3 main dinosaurs and 2, I think, yeah, and 2 Cold One Riders, 2 Cav, and I think in that build, well, maybe he had the same amount of dinosaurs, but he had a lot of skinks to overwhelm everything. So, you know, 6 of one, half dozen of another. I'm happy with the way I played and the way the build went this time. I think it's performing more like what I like, and I really like this one-off pick from the gyrocopter. And I pulled that straight off of Umaze. And Umaze, if you don't know, has an amazing online guide for Dwarfs specifically. He's played a lot of Dowie. His guide's amazing, and I picked this off of one of his builds, which I cast on the channel, where he took a gyrocopter with a regular steam gun and a cannon. I mean, I've really changed this a little bit to have the gyrocopter with the Brimstone gun for the anti-large and armor piercing, and the bolt thrower, which is also anti-large and armor piercing like the cannon, but it's a little bit cheaper. So when you lose it, it's not nearly as bad. And these things sort of give me a little bit extra killing power for the loss of the Slayers. I mean, they do not make up for it specifically, but the gyrocopter, the Brimstone gun, I have enjoyed having one gyrocopter. I am going back and looking at some of my other builds and seeing, can I put one gyrocopter in it. I've added a gyrocopter to, I think, 2 of my other builds. One of my other builds that wasn't there before, a one-off pick, just because it's a great tool for getting around the map. When it's out of ammo, you can chase stuff off the map. You can still rear charge. They count as artillery, so they debuff things, and they do have their bombs, although I don't know if I got my bombs off. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I can't quite remember, but anyways, would love to hear from you down in the comments on really how the build performed compared to last time, and what you thought of it. And obviously, a lot of you, some people have talked about blasting charges really not being as valuable if you're up against Saurus, and it's true, they aren't nearly as valuable when you're up against just Saurus. But I mean, we did slow them down a little bit. It wasn't nothing, and I have talked about that in some of my other discussions in terms of these blasting charges. Anyways, hope you found it interesting, and I will see you soon.